Welcome to Reclaim TV. I am Jim Groom, and I'm joined here today by Meredith Huffman, Maren Deepwell, and Taylor Jaden, all of whom you will hear from shortly. Um, I just wanted to kind of take a moment to introduce our 2025 conference. We do a conference every 2 years, and so it is that time again. And we are actually um, talking this conference theme. And last year's, what was last year's theme? Do you folks remember?
The open web, past, present, future.
That's right.
Yeah,
The web that was, is, and
will be.
will be, exactly. And so this year we have, after working with Brian Mathers, whose beautiful art you see right here, we have come up with yet another brilliant theme. And I really like this theme. Our theme this year is rewilding the network and making new connections. And I like this theme because it's fairly open and general, but I think it also pinpoints a issue that many folks who are on the web and who have been on the web for some amount of time probably face right now. Where do you gather? Where do you make connections? How do you, in a kind of, I'll even say it, post Twitter moment or whatever it's called now, kind of reconnect with people? Is that going back to the blog? Is that in different social networks like Mastodon or Blue Sky? Have you gone to LinkedIn and fully put your suit on and said, this is it, I'm professional now? I don't know, but this is what we're kind of interested in exploring. And we're interested from hearing people across the network about how they're dealing with this and what is their approach. So it will be fully online as a conference, and it will be from November 4th to the 6th. And we will break down particulars of that over the course of the next 40 minutes or so. But that is a kind of brief, quick look. And it's interesting because if you look at this image, which I love, you have these kind of chords and connections, right? The chords are symbolic of connections. You probably didn't need me to tell you that. But then you also have this kind of like bunker. And this bunker has individuals. Sometimes there's more than one. And it's kind of using them to these chords to connect with others and thinking about it. But I love this idea of, are we in a bunker moment for social media? And if so, how do we dig out, if you will? So that's a quick introduction to our conference for 2025, which will happen in November, and something that we're really excited about sharing with you right now.
I will say I really particularly like the person who's chosen to string up a hammock in their bunker room. So that's my favorite.
I like the video game. Maybe maybe that's personal. I don't know. Maybe he did that thinking that there would be someone out there. I don't know if that one person on the left with the ladder, I see that they're on a server, but for a while I was like, maybe that's a cat burglar. He's like breaking the safe, Yeah, I just love this image. And let me reiterate that we're excited to introduce this year's conference theme, which I've already done. I'm terrible with slides,
That's
as you
okay.
all will know. I get ahead of myself. I
I was
can't pace
super
myself.
I was super excited for another year of Reclaim conferences, especially online this year with all the different blog posts. But yeah, super exciting. So we can kick off the different themes we've got here. So we in Reclaim Fashion have several submission options for the different themes within Reclaim Open. And we'll go through each of them individually, but I also really like this graphic from the awesome Brian Mathers about um, capturing what the overarching theme would be on that side. So we're looking at your voice, your world, connections, the tech, and of course a wildcard submission, which is always fun to see what you all come up with on that side there. But I can jump in on your voice for the particular theme this year. And we're looking at how us as a community and even students, how they find and amplify their voices online, what that looks like for them, how do they even find their voice to begin with if they're just starting out, or if you're a seasoned veteran, how do you evolve your voice throughout the years, and looking at other platforms too. I think that could be kind of interesting to play with in the blog post of on that side of your presentation itself. But also looking at like how we make ourselves heard within a community, but also what are the risks we're also seeing at the moment with new opportunities that are coming up as we find ourselves online. So um, I have to say this one's actually kind of my favorite. I have a couple of ideas brewing for conference proposals, so I'm really excited to see that one. We're starting off strong.
It's a powerful one, and it's
Definitely.
difficult, right? Like to come to terms with. There's not, I think something like this is there's few concrete black and white answers to be had, which is the whole point, of course.
Absolutely.
But I do love grappling with this stuff, and I would even add to this a little bit too. I think a part of this that we're interested in is, or constantly interested in here at Reclaim, is still telling the story of why should your voice be heard on the open web? Why is the open web a place for that? And I think that's important question too.
Sure.
And I think it really relates to as well that series, Jim, you've been doing on Reclaim TV, and I'm sure we'll get to talk to it later as well. But the recent episode with Kate Bowles, I think, where she was talking about finding her voice and then not finding it anymore and trying to reestablish that. I think, for me, this theme is as much about the journey as in what you do once you find it or re-find it. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, and how much the voice is dependent on context and where those different networks go, which is why I think this theme is so relevant. It will ask us all to think about, like, where are we in this moment? Veteran, newbie, no matter where you are, and what does it mean, to your point, Taylor, to be on open web, and why? Because I think there's reasons you could argue why not, and that's
Sure.
a conversation worth having.
Absolutely.
It's all happening.
It's all happening. Exactly.
Awesome. The next one, your world. So where does your web presence happen? What's your digital realm look like? Whether it's the blog, domain of one's own, that sort of thing. So, and what types of ways you express yourself, business, hobbies, pets, work, and then sharing what you care about on the open web. So, um, yeah, I said the first one. The all the themes are great. I'm gonna preface that too. I'm like rolling through them as we're talking about them now. But just I think that kind of ties into your voice too, is like expressing yourself through the things that are in your world. So whether or not it's posts about plants or 3D printing or Taylor turning your monitor into a CRT monitor into a gaming PC setup. I think that would be kind of cool. You haven't blogged about it, but I'm calling you out to blog about it there. So that kind of side of it.
I also think that's very much in the spirit of fun that we're hoping comes to this conference. Like I always go back to this, and it's kind of pathetic, but DS 106 was very much about this: creating your own space, creating your own domain, and writing about the things that interest you, and developing as a result of that a kind of sense of voice, maybe, or the beginning of a sense of voice. And I think that's important. I mean, I think it's just important for us not to just be like, ed tech, open ed, da 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 da. Because some of that, while very important, don't get me wrong, I don't want to dismiss, my life. But at the same time, I think sometimes it's nice to return to the small things that make it all matter, and maybe are a refuse or a refuge in this time. Both refuse if it's me and refuge if it's you.
One man's refuse is another man's refuge. That's what they always say, right?
I'm glad I have you all to bail me out with my, malapropisms. So anyway, I agree with you here, Meredith. This is an important theme for me, and I think also this is a theme to it's wide open, and I think intentionally so.
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, spoiler, I think all of our themes are really good and I like them, but I think this theme is an easy one to kind of look at and dismiss the gravity of or importance of, right? Like as you were saying, Meredith, like I think it's really important to connect to the things that are around you, the things that are fun to you, the things that are interesting to you. But that isn't just a distraction. That's important. That's how we make connections. That's how we demonstrate the ability to connect, right? Like I know that some people think of blogging a hobby or whatever as trivial, but I guarantee someone's going to see that and it's an example of I don't know. I think the more examples we can get out here of people connecting in a way that isn't directly tied to bad money, bad investment, and abusive tech relationships. I think that's a good thing, and I think that it starts by us doing it.
Mm-hmm. That really resonates with me, and I suppose, like I always think, also having a voice, it's a personal thing, but it also takes a lot of practice. And I think, when we talk in our community of practice about blogging and keeping blogging, I often write blog posts about things that aren't directly professional because I want to keep that writing muscle going, right? I want to keep the habit going. It's like going to the gym, which, I don't do, but I do go to the blog equivalent of the gym and I blog all the time. And sometimes it's about work and sometimes it's about something completely different. But it does kind of keep that going. And I think sometimes, in academia, we're too dismissive of the kind of non-academic discourse that we all engage in, and it keeps it more real. So I'm hoping people will get really creative with this theme, and homemade computer games and cat videos are all welcome.
I think we need Jim's blogging gym, a series of VHS tapes on blogging.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's a good idea, actually.
Could also turn it into like a Zumba-esque workout session. Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll have the cutoff shirt and I'll be not in shape at all, but it will be fun.
Bring your leg warmers.
It's like an exercise ball and a laptop and a desk.
I think this would be an awesome way to kick off every morning at the conference, workout with Jim.
That's awesome.
Brilliant.
I recently had a great conversation about, yoga as a metaphor for your relationship with technology with Todd Conway and Alan Levine. And I think this would be ideal. We could get some, established bloggers to kind of hold yoga session. You can do this sort of more powerful workout. It'll be really fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. And moving from workouts and yoga to the tech and actually the groundwork that actually happens behind the scenes of building your presence online. So whether that be WordPress, Ghost, which Reclaim is well versed in and we're big fans of, even to open infrastructure like Reclaim EDU and the products that Reclaim Hosting offers, and showing off the tech that you're working with, how your know-how side of things, and even just the niche pieces, like the small tools that you find that you're using more often.
I talked about this in the community chat, and I'll talk about it again. Andy Rush, near and dear colleague of mine for many years at Mary Washington, he's been blogging about his love of the Fediverse and all things Fediverse, but he's also been, tongue in cheek building his empire. And his empire consists of, Pixel Fed, for his images, PeerTube for his videos, Mastodon for his social networks, his WordPress blog, and all these different kind of subdomain blogs for them. And, it's fun. Like, he's building out his own kind of federated network of the stuff he does. And that's a super interesting concept for something like this with the tech. So yeah, I'm interested always in the tech. It's kind of why I got into this field. So I'm interested to see what people do.
Yeah, me too. This is I'm excited. I'm hoping to cook up some weird stuff for the conference too, around the tech that we use, because while in some ways this is where I'm most comfortable, but I also think in some ways it's the easiest, right? Like, because tools are easy to talk about sometimes. But I do think that the tools we choose can have such an impact on the way we end up using them, and in this case, the way we end up blogging, the way we end up posting on anything online. And so I'm really always searching for new approaches to using these tools and shaping them to be what folks want them to be. So I'm really excited to see what people can bring here.
Awesome. And we've got connections. We'll pass it to Maren or Taylor to take over to chat through other these themes as well.
Sure. Yeah. The connections. So this theme is around, what brings us together in a network. What's the glue of a network, and how do you stay connected, find new connections? This is a more important theme than ever, especially I think as we're seeing a lot of people intentionally, leave networks behind, or more in a lot of cases, the networks weren't what they used to be. The ones that you have are different now. And so talking through building community in spaces that we control and can have ownership of and can interoperate and all these good things is really important. And that's really what this track is about. We're obviously really interested in self-hosted social things and federated social things, but we're probably most interested in hearing about how you're making the connections and how you're building new ones and maintaining the ones you have.
I think Taylor, you and I gave a couple of talks in the last year in the sort of digital humanities, and also really thinking about how academic communities are starting to collaborate more with federated social networks, and how the technology is really moving into disciplines and discourses that aren't sort of maybe traditionally thought of as kind of really tech heavy and digital. So I think for me, this theme is really also about scale, where I think part of the fragmentation we're experiencing is just like also a lot of scale. Like, we have so many schools in our community, so many people who come along to our workshops, and they all do so much within their one institution or their one sort of group of institutions. And I think it'll be really interesting to hear people talk about the scale of what they're doing, from one classroom or one class, but also in bigger scale, sort of across bigger academic communities. And I'm really interested in how we can keep, those connections going whilst the number of people who are wanting to get involved in doing this sort of stuff is just increasing. So I'm really excited about that one.
Scale is such an interesting thing to focus on too, because I think the Facebook and Twitter, like in the late 2000s, early 2010s, kind of rewired our brain to, I think, rewired a lot of our brains to think about connections in terms of scale. And I really like this moment when people say, oh yeah, there aren't people here, as many people paying attention here as there were in this other place 10 years ago. And I'm kind of like, yeah. Is it about numbers of people? or is it about the conversations that are happening? And the answer is, of course, both. Like, there are times and places for both of those things. But I'm also really interested to see, like, what is this moment? What are these tools? Do they help us make different types of connections that are maybe more valuable? Maybe not. I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah, this will be cool to see how people create with this on that side, and then pass it to wild cards from here.
So I
Well,
guess,
that is,
I'm
sorry, go
sorry.
on,
No,
Jim.
please go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think this is maybe everybody's favorite theme because, given how creative the past Reclaim Opens have been, and also the DS106 summer camp last year, there is very little limitations on, what we are game for. And I'm very excited about this. Which conference can you say that of, that, if you have a weird idea for what you might do on the radio or with a little game, or maybe inspired by Brian Mather's artwork, you might decide online ping pong is your thing. I'm just so thrilled with what might come up here, and I always love the weird and wonderful that comes out there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is for all you people to get your AI in. If you wanted to get your AI presentation, this is where it was. But to that point, I've been working on a project with Tom Woodward, and what it essentially is doing is we're creating an AI universe around a 25-year-old football game called Madden 2001. And so we're playing around with what that looks like, and it's stupid, and I don't know if it's valuable at all, but it's fun. And it's a project, hopefully, that, people will have, I don't know, say, why would you do that? But maybe have a laugh or two. And I think, that's also part of this. Feel free to bring, get your freak on and play around a little bit with what's possible with some of this tech. And I know there's a lot of reasons to, how would you say? I'm not finding the word, but, there's a lot of reasons to be, Jesus, there's a lot of reasons to hate the tech and to hate all the things around it. But this is maybe a place to celebrate the insane uses of some of this stuff and have fun with it.
Yeah, this is where you can throw practicality out the window, which is
maybe that's what we should have called the theme.
Yeah.
Well, what about, should we go on and tell all the people watching and listening in how to make a submission? Because that's what we want you all to do as we kind of get closer to the conference. And so we thought, you've got the themes, so far so familiar, but there is a kind of not an evil, but a master plan behind the conference, even at this early stage. And that is around getting everybody blogging. So you'll be pleased to hear that you can't help but blog, because for Reclaim Open, every blog post, or rather every proposal, is a blog post. And so you can see another wonderful graphic here. And in a minute, I'll hand over to Jim to kind of talk about the submission system and share you all. But you can see another wonderful graphic here from Brian Mathers, who kind of tried to articulate all the messy different things that we might include in the conference. And they'll kind of get plugged into a blog post and a GIF, more of which in a moment. And then that will become your submission and published as a blog post on the conference site. So I think that's really neat, and hopefully we'll get everybody blogging. So Jim, I'm going to hand over to you to chat through how that all works.
Yeah, it's actually cool the way you're saying, or that even that slide said, like every proposal immediately becomes a post, and that post represents part of the schedule. You will submit a GIF that will be representative of your talk. You will have information about yourself, and obviously an abstract about what your presentation is and the theme, etc., which is ways we can slice and dice this. But then this lives on as a post. And so at the time of presentation, when you come to present, your presentation will be embedded in this post, and the conversation around that embedded video will actually happen in a live chat, which are the comments of that post. So in essence, you never leave the blog from cradle to grave. You are within the blog at all times. And that was for us the fun of it. And, in our community chat, the question came up like, blog, 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 text, text, text. Maybe it's too much. And we use this term very broadly, creating media. That could be video, that could be visual images. That could be a lot of different things, right? We're not limiting you on that, but the space in which that is contained will be a post on this site. And that's where it will all happen. And so I really love that idea. And I think this was Taylor's idea to kind of bring it not only back to the old school 2003 Element blog, but then to also, make the blog the kind of container of the entire online conference. And so that it's just an archive and a resource post facto with all of that stuff still there and ongoing and easily archivable.
It just seemed, it's a blogging conference about blogging. We needed to put it on a blog, right? Like it. So.
You mean we couldn't put it in the LMS? It would have been so much easier.
And the even better news is that submissions are open now. As of the premiere of this video, as we're watching live, Friday, June 13th, Friday the 13th, submissions are live, so you can go ahead and brainstorm your ideas as we've been talking about the other conference themes.
What URL would I go to? How do I get there?
It is
question.
https:// reclaimeopen.com. I'm excited that was a throwback there.
Reclaimeopen.com. What's a colon? Yeah, awesome.
It's such an easy domain to remember. Reclaimeopen.com. Is that right? Can anyone else say it a third time?
Reclaimeopen.com.
Okay.
It also means it's open for submissions and soon for registration too. And I did want to pick up on that, every submission is a blog post piece, because some people might be viewing this or listening and saying, hey, I haven't blogged in several years. My blog is moribund. I can't log in anymore. I have no idea what to blog about. I have millions of posts I've never published. And what we're hoping is that this submission form that we're just sharing with you will do the hard work for you, because you only need 250 words. We've already decided themes and session types for you, and you can pick gifts to your heart's content to make yourself laugh and get over the kind of hurdle of writing something. And there's space to acknowledge people who've contributed or collaborated with you, as well as providing links to resources or references if you want people to explore more. And I think for me, this is like a win-win, right? Like I get to type something quite quick and fun and easy, and then it gets published as well, rather than having to go through, various stages of making yourself do all of that. So if you are sitting there thinking, oh, I'd love to make a submission, but no, that looks scary, reach out to us, because we have a whole community of practice of friendly bloggers with lots of tips to help you along. And maybe, what do you guys think? Should we talk a little bit about the community of practice, just to give people a little preview in case they haven't come across it yet? Oh, no, sorry. We must do this first. This is my favorite.
Oh, I was going to say this is a good holding screen while I talk about community of practice, but I think this is too good not to talk about from here.
It kind of, it captures, again, Brian Mathers, all hail, but it captures the visual of the conference as these individual posts with the GIF, and then that big, screen underneath the GIF is your post with an embedded media, right? Which is you presenting. Think about it, you presenting. It could be you, this could be you. And then you have the comments, which will be a live chat around people who are presenting, but then people can come post facto and comment as well after they've watched it, because it will be online. And so these are the different visuals of a couple of different sessions hanging out there in the cloud somewhere on some blog, reclaimopen.com. Does that do a good description? Did that do it justice, folks?
I think so. I think this is the best conference visualization ever.
We have we explained in the submission thing the unique the GIF of it all, what we're going for there?
Have we talked about the GIF?
I don't think you can talk enough about it.
Should we show the
I think
GIF?
we should show
Okay.
it maybe.
So someone vamp right now. Oh yeah, can you get in there and show it? And could like go and do a submission? Yeah, there it is. Fake it. Let's see if you don't even need to put stuff in. You could just go to select a GIF. Let's go right down. Yeah. So Tom Woodward, in all his genius, created this where we put in old school GIFs, and you can confirm your GIF and then confirm that selection. Now look at the red border. So beautiful. So let's just say we decide to have the cat in the litter. So we click on whatever cat, right? Doesn't matter. And there it is. It's just special GIF. We have to replenish the GIFs because they're running out as we test them. But
Yes,
there's a very easy way to do that.
Yeah, so once you pick a GIF, that is your GIF for the conference. Yours and only yours. No one else can grab it.
Which is a really good reason to submit early and often.
We can't just be finding GIFs. These will run out eventually. This is a limited time offer, okay?
These are finite GIFs, people.
And actually, I must say, one of the things I loved about the work Tom did on this is that you can even save your submission and then, finalize it later if you need to. But yeah, I love this. This made me smile so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for
this
anyone
may
who
result, by the way, but don't wait too long, because if two people pick the same GIF and save their submission and try to submit them later, we cannot guarantee what will happen. Okay, like we'll have to test that. But unintended consequences. Your GIFs are rare and yours, so get in there.
If for nothing else, claim your GIF now. But I'll tell you, quick. Tom did blog about this on his blog because he's a good blogger. And he's using the media uploader in WordPress and just searching by that GIF. And if we want to replenish GIFs, for example, in all the test submissions we've done, we can go in and in the description, there's a word. And if we just delete that word, it goes back into the general public of GIFs. So it's just a cool little hack he did to make this work. And I'm here for that. I'll tell you that. So.
Also, who doesn't love an online event where GIFs are setting the tone, rather than some kind of, I don't know, horrible Zoom room or MS Teams environment, where you get like a dense spreadsheet of lots of sessions. So I'm in love with this conference idea, and I guess we also have some other ideas around the formats at the conference, including a blogathon, where all of these blog posts kind of will come to the fore. So if you're thinking, when are we going to enjoy these GIFs? Well, there's a whole day dedicated to them.
Yeah, and I just want to make a quick point on the point you just made. Not only is it fun and GIF, but since I started playing with WordPress 20 years ago, the whole idea was to find ways to use this open source, highly, hackable tool to replace a lot of those depressing tools that you just listed, Maren, and build something joyful for a learning experience. And I hope I think and hope folks see that that's what's happening here.
So just to round us off on the submissions, so you can choose 3 different types of submissions. You can just keep it classic and just submit a blog post. There is a whole day at the conference dedicated to blog posts for as long as we can keep it going. And we are conscribing volunteers as we speak to keep it going as long as possible. So hopefully a little bit of DS106 radio, but mainly blogging, commenting, reading, writing. You can also submit for a presentation, so share your research and practice, whether that's a show and tell or a demo or some research, whatever it might be. That's the kind of main sort of common type. And then we're also going to have some community and social sessions, which are just an opportunity to hang out, get together, have some fun. This might be really informal or just, silly. So they could be whatever you want them to be. And we're hoping that our community of practice is going to be leading a lot of these sessions. Maybe also providing a little bit of peer support for people who are looking for their voice, who may be starting blogging for the first time.
I like this gift, or this gift. I got gifts on the brain. This image too, because it's also we encourage you to share your posts beyond the blog itself. Share on your social media platform of choice as well. And if that includes the Fediverse, if that includes turning your presentation into a visual Instagram reel or TikTok post, I think that'd be super cool too. So just get creative with it and keep the connections going to rewire. I say wire, thinking about it as like pushing out through the web, but growing that bunker aspect of we were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah, and really, I think in a lot of ways we're hoping the energy around this conference is around taking up exploring the new spaces. How can we move into them, relocating outside of the platforms, taking our boxes of content and shipping them elsewhere, and how do we do that in a way that actually works for us? So hopefully that evokes here. Hopefully people come to into this conference inspired and out of it even more inspired. We're really excited.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think this is our last slide, so keep chatting down below in Discord as we're watching this to announce all of the goodness that's coming. Stay tuned for announcements on registration. We're opening up that very, very soon. And any other closing thoughts or final thoughts for folks?
Well, I think we should say keep blogging.
Yeah. And like and subscribe for more. That's what we should always say. Right? Hit that button, hit that bell.
Hey, we have a subscribe button on Reclaim TV. It will subscribe you to it over the Fediverse, so you'll get notifications when we go live.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. And I just thought about this too, but if you want to kind of pregame Reclaim Open, we've been running this community of practice all year around blogging. So if you want to kind of get your practice in before the big day of our blogathon, check our events.reclaimhosting.com site as well to kind of learn more about the community of practice, seeing how we're meeting, community chats, all of the good stuff as well.
Actually, on that point, I do have a ongoing series called On Writing, and this is part of our Bloggers Anonymous kind of outreach and talking with folks. And we met our last one was with Kate Bowles, which is a wonderful. If you have a chance, check that out on our YouTube channel or our PeerTube archive. But coming up, we have Lee Scalarup-Bissett talking about her writing story. We have Tim Clapdor from the University of Adelaide, Down Under, talking about really, I already recorded that session. He has a really good run about like why he blogged and what that meant professionally in Australia, about 15 years ago. Super interesting. I highly recommend it. And then after that, we'll have the great Martin Weller, who's got all things to tell us about not only being a blogger, but also working into the world of actually writing novels and other kinds of writing. So That's an ongoing series. There'll be a whole new lineup in July and August. So don't miss that. If you're looking for inspiration or people who want to talk and share about their writing, these are all great people. They're really down to earth, super authentic, and they'll give you a look at like what writing has meant for them over a career. And I'm interested in that, and I'm sure some of you might be too.
Awesome. Reclaim Open 2025 is happening. I'm going to go back to the slide with all the details. So stay tuned, watch their socials and website and all that good stuff. But we will see you all online and on November 4th through 6th of this year for Reclaim Open. All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye bye.